Hello, good afternoon, Damien Jones here again for you today, guys. Today we're going to be looking at this. Here we go then. We have two more gas masks for your consideration. We have, these are both Cold War, Soviet-Russian gas masks. Apart from the colour, you'll probably notice what one of them is anyway. Can you tell me? Well, we have the GP-5, which is probably the commonest gas mask on the collector's market at the moment. I'll remove this out the way for a minute so we can concentrate on this one, and then we'll come back to that one in a minute. Yeah, as I say, we have the GP-5 gas mask, Soviet Russia, Cold War. The commonest gas mask available on the collector's market. Just let me tilt you up a bit. That's a bit better. Well, first of all, we'll take a look at it. It's in remarkable condition. This one dates to 1987. They made these commonly they made these from the 70s and 80s, are the ones that you'll find on the market, but they were actually making them as early as the 1960s. And it is a form of mask that has been heavily copied the world over. The Chinese have made a very, very similar mask. Sometimes they have a hose with the filter, things like that. But this is the commonest mask that you're going to find on the collector's market at the moment. Now, they come in different colours, for starters. More commonly, you're going to find that they come in grey rubber. That's the most common one, grey rubber. Then, obviously, you've got this, the black rubber, which is a little more scarcer. And then you have the extremely hard to come by. I've only ever come across one place that was selling them, and that's white rubber. Now, as I say, these things have been in storage for probably about at least 30 years, and all of a sudden they're all on over the army surplus market. People are buying them for, people are buying them for Halloween. People are also buying them because they like the vintage style round eyes on them, as they remind them, of the German gas mask of World War II. And indeed they do quite look like that. Let's go over the mask itself though now. It comes with a 40mm filter, and it was actually tested in 1993 by the Polish army at how good it actually stood up to its job with nuclear, biological and chemical conditions, and they found it to be effective for 24 hours. I say it's a very cheap, very simple design for a gas mask, and pretty much what else could I say about it? Yeah, you'll more than likely find these in grey rubber. They are the commonest ones. Common misconception is that the grey ones were for the civilian, were issued for, the fallout shelters and things in Russia. And the black ones were for servicemen and things like that. Well, my argument with that theory is, well, what are the white ones for? That doesn't make any sense to me, that one. You do hear some drivel off some collectors, I have to say, but that doesn't make any sense to me. It's more likely that the reason why they come in different colours is because of who was producing them at whatever particular time. In order to find out who was producing them and what time, you're going to have to do a bit of research. Obviously check the date and any stamps that's on them. As I say, this is 1987. They went out of production in 1989, so this is a later what. This is pretty much, well, one of the last issue really ones, isn't it? Yeah. The reason why I've chosen a black one rather than the common grey one is because, you know, the rubber is starting to perish on these things, and you know, I think it's just less noticeable on the black ones, to be quite honest with you. That's why I went for a black anyway. If you want a black one, you can find them quite commonly at the, you know, they're quite readily available at the moment on eBay. And what else can I really say about it? Some people, these things are being sold, you know, not only as Halloween decorations, but also for personal use and things, and they do work. But I would recommend that you don't use them for anything other than collectible, as a collectible, really. You know, a Cold War relic, or a Cold War collectible, if you will. I wouldn't have them for any other reason. I certainly wouldn't try them on, as a test was done, I believe, you'd have to check this one up on Wikipedia, but a test was done as these things were selling, people were buying them for use with Halloween costumes and things. And it was found that the filters contained 7.5% asbestos, which mightn't sound like a particularly lethal amount of asbestos, but you've got to take into account, you know, if somebody or a kid gets hold of one of these and they have some sort of respiratory trouble, say that they have asthma or something like that, then it could harm them potentially. So I would say, if you are collecting these things, you know, just for display purposes, just for historical purposes, don't go using them for reenactments, and, you know, find a new mask, really. Don't use one of these. I mean, I know they're going cheap enough at the minute, but don't use one of these for your Halloween costume. I'll take this off because this, unfortunately, is my wobbly dummy, and this filter is the heavy one. I'll just shift this one to one side. So that's the GP-5 standard gas mask with its 40mm filter. They all come with pretty simple buttoned cloth gas mask bags, which is fair enough. We'll take a look at the other model now. We'll just plonk that other bag for that one there. Here we have a more interesting and more rarer version of the GP-5. This is the GP-5M, and this is a lot more interesting, a little rarer as well, and this was used by service personnel as opposed to Joe Public. This one's a little earlier. Yeah, this one's 1980 stamp, and again it has exactly the same 40mm filter on it. Now the differences with this, one thing I forgot to mention on the other one, which I will bring up on here, is they have anti-fog lenses. The anti-fog lenses, you can see these channels around here, these channels, and what that is, that just provides an air flow to around the eyelets so that they don't fog up on you, so you can still see what you're doing with obviously not having to take the mask off. As I say, this is the GP-5M. It has another name as well. I have it written down on a piece of paper. Bear with me. Okay, it has another name other than the GP-5, the GP-5M. It's also known as the PMG-2. Okay, and again, Soviet Russia. It's basically exactly the same as this Cold War gas mask, with a few adaptations for people that use radio personnel, tank drivers, that kind of thing. As you can see in the front, unlike the first one, it has a voice amplifier here, which is actually quite effective. And also, in addition to that, it has this rather dubious, I think anyway, open ear section. Now, I can understand that, but you know, and obviously when you're wearing this, you know, you're going to have telemit earphones on and things like that. And obviously the there's a screw bayonet on the end of the voice amplifier, so presumably something would screw onto that so that the voice can be heard clearly and audibly from the tank or from the whatever communications it will be used for. And yeah, having said that, once the earphones come off, you know, this area is going to be exposed to fallout, isn't it? You know, I mean, presumably they would wear like some sort of almost like a Pacamac type parka, you know, clothing with this, you know, to prevent against radioactive fallout. Who knows? Anyway, I'll let you take a look at this one all the way around. I really like this one. This is not so common as well to find this version. They are out there, but they do take a little more looking around for than the common mask here. And there we have them, guys. The GP-5, Soviet Russia Cold War gas mask, and the GP-5M. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you did, as ever, give me the thumbs up, show some appreciation. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you very much for that, and thank you to everybody that has subscribed since the last video. Tomorrow, maybe later, I haven't yet decided. When I get time, very very soon, certainly, we'll be looking at my M1 steel helmet collection. So basically, if you stick around on my channel, I'll show you my helmet. For now though, my name's Damien Jones. Cheers for watching. Bye for now.